Welcome to LOA Today. Walt Thiessen and life coach Patty Framo here. Today is Monday, November the 12th, 2018, 4 p.m. New York time, 1 p.m. Los Angeles time, 9 p.m. London time, and this is your second daily dose of happy for the day. And we were off to a little slow start today with some technical issues, but we've got them straightened out, and we are going to be doing another live coaching call here. So for people who've always wondered what a coaching session might be like, you get to actually find out by seeing one while it happens. And of course, the person leading the way on that is our life coach extraordinaire, Patty Framo. Patty, how you doing today? You had a good weekend, I hope.
I'm doing great.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's good.
I did. I had a great weekend.
You had a great weekend.
Laguna Beach this weekend.
Better than good.
Yeah.
I like better than good. Better than good is great. That's good. I like that.
It was actually a completely unstructured weekend.
Ooh.
So it's an annual girlfriend weekend that we do, and it's start to finish. There are no rules, and there's no times, and everybody does whatever they want, whenever they want, which is
that
fabulous.
sounds rough.
Really,
yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It's a huge vacation. It's like really a full-on vacation.
Fantastic.
It really is, which was very cool. Yeah. So I slept in, walks on the beach, and we went, ate and shopped and talked and blah, blah, blah. It was really fun.
Now I'm feeling jealous. It's like my weekend doesn't measure up to that. I need a better weekend. No, that's good. That's great. I'm glad that.
But you too can plan a weekend like that.
We certainly can. Absolutely. So anyway, we are doing another live coaching session today, and why don't you introduce our lovely guest who's volunteered to step up to the mic and share some of the stuff going on in her life and give you a chance to help coach her.
Yeah, this is Zai. Hi, Zai.
Hello.
Okay, good. You can hear us. We had a little bit of issues with this, but we're good. So I hear you. I see you. You hear me. You see me. We're good. Okay, great.
And I see the green light going, which means you can hear me.
Hooray!
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, welcome to the
Really
show,
happy.
Zai, first of all. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to let Patty take it from here.
Yeah, so all I know, I asked you kind of what was your main focus that you wanted to do today, and I believe it was around sort of manifesting this ideal career for yourself. And then we had talked about also, or I think I sent you an email asking you to kind of come up with something that would make you feel like by the end of the call, we've been successful in getting a result that you wanted by the end of this call.
Yes.
Any thoughts?
The direction is all of my life I've always been very successful, most of the time working for myself, also supplementing that with working with companies. And then I became a mom. And then the priorities shift. And so I'm working for the man, for lack of a better term, for a couple companies. And it seems like I do very well for them, but I don't seem to. You definitely don't get rich working for somebody else. And you do have to follow their rules. I don't always agree with their rules. And sometimes it goes against my moral code. So I like to be able to work for myself, but there is a fear that pops up because I am responsible for a child as well as myself. I seem to be more a risk taker when it's just me. When it's a little one who's 6, that's a little scary.
Understandable.
I totally get that. So what would feel like a good result at the end of this call for you?
A good result would be a direction in which I can do what I need to do and break away, creating my own resources with less risk, or with risk that I'm comfortable with taking. It seems like right now what I'm doing is I'm saving and I'm saving and I'm saving. So when I do get to the point where I can take a risk, then I have something to back up. But, then a tooth needs to be repaired or a car needs to be repaired. And so that tends to be where the money goes. So manifesting something that I can do that I enjoy without having to work for other companies that go against what I morally believe.
So is it that you would like to feel less fearful by the end of the call, or you'd like to have a plan on how to move out of this place?
Definitely.
Or a plan?
Less fearful.
Both.
Less fearful and a direction.
And a direction. Okay. All right.
So
what?
I know that I work with body work. I work with people that have Parkinson's disease, or people who are injured or coming out of physical therapy that lose their balance or not need to use their body to regain their balance in different ways. So I'm very successful for that. But then the companies that I work for want me to only do it when they're making so much money. And if they're sick, I can't go see them. And they still need it when they're sick. They still need it at their house. So I'm limited. But if I created my own website, if I did my own thing, if I branched out, I could be successful. But again, I've worked for myself and I've been very successful for 20 years. But it is an up and down with income, and there aren't any benefits. And when you take a vacation, you don't make any money.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I want to mention on my own behalf, Zai, my appreciation for what you do, because my father passed from symptoms related to Parkinson's disease. So, as somebody who knows something about it, thank you very much for what you do, because it is very important work.
And it's very rewarding. You get many compliments, like you just said, Walt, that you see the difference. People have that shuffle step, or they can't remember how to swallow food, and the exercises that we do are silly, and we giggle. Kids giggle 12 to 20 million times a day. I mean, they just giggle all day. Adults are lucky if we giggle 12 times a day. So in my class, we giggle at least 12 times a day, even if I'm having to tell my daughter's jokes to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't emphasize how important that is, because literally what ended up killing my dad was that it got into his throat and he couldn't swallow. And so he ended up essentially starving to death. Yeah.
Right. Because you can't use your tongue.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you kind of have some vision of what you would like that to look like, possibly, if you were to change?
Yes, my visions tend to be grandiose. Have a house where I have a studio in the backyard and I am able to do sessions back there. And realistically, in Southern California, you have to be pretty darn wealthy to have that. I do have clients that have that, and I've been offered places in the past. So I feel like I could manifest that opportunity to come my way. But then I've got to be ready to take it. And then that, Patty, is where that fear comes in, because I'm not sure I'm ready to take it. I kind of like that 401k and that, it's that addiction. When I went to ask my current job for more money because they're not paying what the market pays, they said, "We'll keep your other 4 jobs because I know we don't pay what's valuable, but people won't leave us. So we continue to keep our pay the same."
Mm-hmm. So in this, when you talk about the fear, is the fear around money? Is it around instability? Is it around past stuff that comes into your mind? Are there sort of past things from your childhood, or things? I mean, I know a lot of times that there are certain things that tend to be our issues, and when we're growing up, and those are sort of our grooves of the record, that the needle will keep falling back into again.
I've always had a strange relationship with money. I have an abundance of it that comes in, and I watch it flow out, and then I have it. As a kid, I always had tons of money. It's just now that I'm an adult, I realize that I have to pay for my retirement when I can't walk, and so I don't just need to make now money, I need to make tomorrow money. And that's where my confusion and fear lies. I guess I thought I would be in a different place now. and I'm not. So now I have to shift my gears and go, well, how can I still get there?
So there's the fear involved in it, but there's also a little bit of disappointment at where you're at right now.
Well, and then here's the other thing. If I had met Walt's dad, I would love him, and I don't. And as I get to know the families, then asking people for money becomes an issue, because I see how much money they're paying for healthcare. I see how much money they're paying for this equipment. And I'm like, oh, I can offer my time. And then I discredit my value by not asking for it. And that is where I challenge myself for money. And I think that's parent-based for me, because my dad was very stingy with his money, and I want to be very giving. And I've created a balance. However, I catch myself all the time from offering things free. So it's easier for me in my manifestation or focus. I say, I need somebody else to do the bills, because I know that's a weakness in me. So let them charge, let them do it. You talk to my accountant, you pay the bill, and I don't want to be the collector of that money, because it makes me uncomfortable. And maybe I just need to get over that uncomfortableness, so I don't have to pay somebody to do the money.
So if you could just sort of put out fantasy land, how would you like to feel about all of this?
I would like to be able to do what I do, have people come in groups to me on certain days of the week. I go to those that can't travel, and have my weekends and evenings free to spend with my daughter, and to have a more flexible schedule. If my daughter wants to go on a field trip and wants me to go, I can go. So that would be the ideal.
And so what's that feeling? What feelings would that bring for you? If you can use feeling words.
Inadequate. I feel like I don't know how to.
Well, let me interrupt for just a second. I'm talking about what you would feel if you got all those things.
Oh, if I got it.
Yes. I'm doing the opposite.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into those other feelings.
Yeah. No, I would feel the way I felt prior to being a mom. I would feel like I'm living my life, very lucky to be what I'm doing, and having the freedom to have a day off if I need it, when I need it.
And can you
I've lived that life. I'd like to live it again. Only I'd like to do it with security, whereas then my security didn't care. If I didn't make it enough money this week, then next week I'd eat ramen noodles.
Exactly. So describe when you were in that situation, what that really felt like. Like, give me an image of just the feelings of what that was like when you were actually in that circumstance.
Okay. Describe. I don't know how to turn your volume up. All I heard was describe when I feel something.
Yeah, Patty, your volume kind of disappeared a bit there.
Is it better now?
Just speak up. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll speak up a little.
That's good.
So I hit the wrong button. Sorry. I'm a little technically challenged here. There we go. I got the brightness going on. But you can hear me okay, right?
Oh yeah,
yes,
strong
now.
now.
I actually hear you a little better.
Okay, so I'll just talk a little louder. So what I was trying to do was have you get into that feeling place when you were there before, to bring those feelings up into your present.
Anya, honey bun, can you stop singing, please, or go into the other room? Thank you. Okay. My daughter can sing through anything, and I love it.
That's a good
She's
trait.
A very happy girl. Maybe if I put headsets on. All right, so describe something or other. I'm sorry.
Oh, what I said was describe the feeling place when you were there in that place that felt good.
Yes.
Describe the scenario to me and the feeling, like what it was just to go through your day. when you were in that good place with your career and you felt really good about it?
Well, very much like your weekend this weekend. It felt freeing. It felt freedom. Freedom is my number one. I like to feel free.
Yeah. So your schedule was free.
The schedule was free.
What I
did was very rewarding. I could stay an hour later if I needed to. I could come. I could rearrange if I had to. I never had to say no because I had to say no. I said no because I felt it was the right thing to do. And now I'm saying no because I have to say no.
To what?
No, I can't go to a somatics training because I have to work, or it's only in the evening, and that's my time that I spend with my daughter, so I can't give that up. It's too precious. So, and I get that I don't have to do it all. I still want to do it all. I mean, that's what life's all about, is feeding the senses and enjoying it. And that's why we're here, is to live, breathe, play, eat, be merry, share your skills and enjoy. And when I have that kind of life, I feel it. And now, right now, I feel almost like I'm being choked out. Wow. With working for two different companies. Mm-hmm. And one was just bought by a larger company, and we're feeling squished. So all the things that I loved about the companies I did work for is saying, Zai, it's time to go. You're ready. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how to make that leap.
You're getting signs that you want to move on, but you're not sure how to do that.
Correct. I'm getting signs that I'm going the right direction. Like, I just did a mobility and agility training that took a year. I had to drive up to Cal State Fullerton and met with some very talented people in the field. And some of the events I felt like I could lead already. So I'm there. I'm ready. Confirmation has had its place. It's just... And then other people that I know that are in my specific scenario are also doing what I'm doing. They're breaking away from the companies that are smushing us, and they're doing their own things. And I'm watching them teeter. They have the reverse. They're taking care of their parents. So it's a little fearful for them because they're not on their own anymore. So they're walking the same path. So I'm seeing that as an example, which again, I take as I'm going the right way. This is how I need to go. But how do I make that leap? Mm-hmm. I can't lose my home.
I hear you. Well, and I think it is good to follow what feels good in your gut, but sometimes what's in your gut and the path of least resistance is not losing your home. So right. Mm-hmm. It's hard to say whether this is the right time or not. But I'm wondering if you were able to take that leap, or if you wanted to start taking steps in that direction, what you'd ultimately like to get to, like if you could just design this whole ideal job for yourself, what that would be, or business, and then what might be the little steps you could take to get there vibrationally. So start with the goal and result of what you would like, because I know you want to feel free. You want to feel you have the ability to change your schedule around and do the things that you love to do. And you would love to have the security of having the money come in that you need, and also have enough coming in that you actually can save for your retirement and pay for healthcare and things like that if you don't have benefits for yourself. Right. Would you see yourself doing this with a group of people, with a team, working collaboratively, attaching to another agency, or just going out on your own completely? If you could just go into fantasy land.
Fantasy land with a group. I'm a social person, and I naturally want to give and share. And I think really, truly, you get the most when you activate different parts of your body. If you understand how to work your own body somatically, but then you go to physical therapy where we're helping you train you to use your body, but then you understand what that means. And there are a handful of people that I would definitely blend with. Somebody who does aqua, somebody who does somatic, somebody who does healing, somebody who does yoga, somebody who works with specific boundaries, somebody who works with caregivers is at the same time that they can work with people with different diseases that are limiting them. I see a wellness center sort of field, or where you can
Would it be
come
paid
in
by
and
insurance, or would it be paid by cash? Would it be private pay or insurance?
Well, then we definitely have accounts receivable and payable taking care of all that. Billing for insurance is pretty brutal. I have a friend who's done that, and there's a lot of paperwork involved. And not any of the people that are skilled where I'm skilled like paperwork.
Right,
We're
right.
not.
But I'm even wondering if this is something that, you could do just for private pay. If the services that you're going to be providing are typically covered by insurance, or are they typically not?
Yes and no. Yes, if they've exhausted certain Western medicine, then they allow a little more Eastern medicine. And what I do is definitely Western medicine accepted. However, they have to go to a physical therapist and get done with them first before they can come to me, because I don't have the physical therapist degree. So they have to go there first, and then I think insurance pays a part of it, depending on. But I also.
Do you even want to bill for insurance, or would you prefer just to do private pay?
I would love to. I'd love to make it easier on the people. And if Medicare will pay for it and that makes it easier for them, absolutely. I would love to do that. It's definitely not my skill. Typically, when I did my dance practice, I did trades. There was always an accountant that was doing my books for me so that, I could get paid and I didn't have to worry about it. So that would...
And if you, let's say it was going to be, they could go either way. Let's say somebody could say, I could do my insurance, or I also have the funds that I'd be willing to pay on my own if I feel like this is such a unique service that's being offered. Which would you prefer?
Ideally, I'd
for
rather
yourself.
them... What?
What would you prefer for yourself?
I would prefer them to invest a monthly fee and come whenever they need it. Because
Okay.
I think people come a little more when it's not, they don't have to, I've got to pay when I go in and I've got to do that. So if they paid $350 for the month and they could come in every single day, and get somatic training, or get a private yoga class, or get balance and mobility training, or find out why they're getting headaches all the time. And it's because you're standing out of balance. And I think that's more successful because you come
so
more.
It sounds also like the group. So that's good to clarify that feels best to you.
Yes.
The other piece is, do you see yourself, it sounds pretty much to me like the target market you're looking at is not young, healthy people. You're looking at people who might be experiencing some pretty big health issues or injuries where things need to be modified and customized to that person, that won't necessarily just be able to go to any old yoga class and take a yoga class because they just won't be able to. Okay. So that makes it a certain target market that's real specific.
Correct. It is definitely it's a retirement market, and we happen to live in a retirement area. Sunny San Diego brings in a lot of people to retire. And we have a lot of people
aging into retirement right now.
Right, exactly. And as you get older, you tend to take more medicines. And the second you hit that number 4, your fall percentage increases exponentially. So just take.
If you had this center, wellness center,
Yes.
Well, let me ask you even first of all, are there other wellness centers like this that you're aware of that do the kinds of things that you're talking about, or is this very unique?
There are YMCA, there are nonprofits that do somatic classes, fall-proof programs. There are retirement living where they have individuals come in and they do one-on-one. But I don't believe Tri-City Wellness is like the closest. So yes, but not really. How's that for a psychology answer?
Kind of, sorta is the answer. Yeah. So,
if you know what you're looking for, you could go around and do it. It's kind of like shopping. You know what stores you go to. You can go to Lazy Acres, Jimbo. You can go to a bunch of stores and get all that you need. But there's really not one that you could say, that's where I'm going to go.
Right. So could you see yourself putting together a wellness center like this, gathering a group of people who will all be serving this type of target market, and
I could
connecting
see getting
with
a large group of us together, not necessarily leading it, but being a mouth on it. Like, I don't want it to be the Xi Center.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't, I know what that stress is, and I want to retire.
So that's good clarity.
Yeah.
So you'd love to be part of this group. You don't want to pull it together for everybody.
Correct. I'd love to get the pieces all together and be a collaborative moment, and then say, because I know I want to be able to say, I've got my 6-year-old daughter, I want to go. And if I'm in charge of it, that's not the right thing to do. You need to be there to make sure everything happens. And so I have other people that might be interested in doing that. It's not my personality. Like an accountant, I'm not an accountant. That's not my personality. But I know people that are accountants. I know people that could do it. And I don't know if they want to do it. I haven't asked them.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is, are there people out there? Well, two things. One is are there wellness centers that are close enough to this idea that you could be a value-added piece and go into something that's already set up?
Not where I wouldn't be in the identical position I'm in right now. Because the YMCA is one of them, and they do I'm trained for people recovering from cancer through the Livestrong program, and they also have the Fall Proof program, and I can run both of those, but I have to do it under their rules. So the challenge is I've got to be congruent with their rules.
So you're wanting something that is more going to fit who you are and what you have to offer in a way that it's going to give you the money and the security that you need.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to be a co-owner, but not running that, like having a GM kind of run the place where I'm a co-owner and my money goes into it to make sure that everything happens, but I'm not the one single head. Like there's a group of us that are now, and I know that that's a collaboration that runs into its own headaches or potentials, but I'm more comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm. So you're not necessarily wanting to go work at another wellness center that exists already, and you're not necessarily wanting to start one up on your own, but you'd like to co-start one up with someone else. Is that what you're saying? That's what I'm trying I'm trying to clarify.
Right. The more we talk, the more I could see just being an independent contractor and working for other people and then being able to pull out and change as I want to. And that would be very successful. That's
sure
kind
would
of
be
what I'm
easier.
hearing myself saying.
Yeah, because you're sort of morphing from like, well, I kind of want this, but I kind of want this, and well, actually, I kind of want this. So I'm hearing you really clarifying your head.
Correct.
So that last thing you just said, say that a little bit more and see how that resonates with you. Like, how's that feel in your gut when you think of doing that?
Well, being an independent contractor is, in fact, what I was before. The challenge with being an independent contractor is being able to say, I'm worth this dollar amount. And I have a friend of mine who's retiring, and she's pushing me, saying, you are worth that amount. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I'm like, God, I wish I could have you in my head.
So it sounds, yeah, absolutely. Wouldn't that be nice? Little repeat.
Just right here.
Yeah. You should get her to talk
it.
into your phone and then just keep playing it over and over again for yourself. So what that's sounding to me like is it's not necessarily a situation where you can never be paid that amount. It sounds like you're having a not deserving or something. What is it around there? What's the feeling that's halting you there?
Well, I have had father and the father of my child tell me I'm not deserving of money. So there's definitely.
So what does Zai say to Zai? Let's say we forget everybody else what they say because you're not worrying about what they say. What do you say to you?
What I do is very important to people. I'm very worth the money.
And then what stops you from actually asking for it?
What stops me what?
From actually asking for that amount.
Relating to people. I relate to them, and I relate to wanting a discount or wanting not to. Eggs cost a certain dollar amount, and what I do for a living doesn't cost a certain dollar amount. So it's
what does it cost? How do you determine what that price is? Is it based on the market? Is it based on what you deserve? Is it based on what the need of your client is and how bad you're feeling for them at the moment? What comes into play?
Education definitely comes into play. My experience in education, when I think back to when I was 20 and what I was charging and what I was doing, and now what I'm charging basically the same, and I know so much more and can get people where they need to be in 2 seconds as opposed to months.
Okay.
That's where
there's a whole lot of value there.
A lot of value.
And it sounds like what's holding you back from asking that amount
Yes.
is feeling sorry for the people or
Correct.
feeling like you somehow don't quite deserve it to have more.
Correct.
Because your ex told you.
And I have clients that say you're not charging enough. I mean, I do have clients that say smack.
So it sounds more like the issue is you're arguing with yourself.
Correct.
Than anybody outside you is really putting these limits on you.
Correct.
What you're describing is very similar to a model that many people in various kinds of private practice engage in. And I'm thinking specifically right now of one of my other co-hosts, Joel Elston, who is both a psychotherapist and a life coach, although he focuses exclusively on life coaching. And he basically gets whatever he wants for it. He doesn't ask the moon and the stars, but he gets whatever he wants. And the approach he takes is he doesn't hesitate to ask for the really good price. He just goes ahead and asks for it and knows that that's only going to bring a certain segment of the clientele to him. But he gets as many of those as he needs in order to feel like he's on track. And then once he's there and once he knows that the bills are paid, then he feels like he can take on people on a discount or a pro bono or whatever it is that's needed. But he goes into it with the mindset of there are certain people who have no problem paying the high price because the high price is worth it from a professional who really knows their stuff. And so they're the ones who are basically subsidizing the other ones. That's the way, that's kind of the way you have to look at it. because otherwise you're going to get yourself caught in that trap that you're in right now. One that I know real well, by the way. I'm an expert at what you're doing right now. I'm like really, really good at it. And I can tell you from years of experience, you don't want to stay there. It's not a good place to be. No, you definitely want to be into the place where you really do value your work highly, to the point where if that excludes people at first, then it excludes people at first, but you can be confident that you're going to be attracting the ones who can pay it, and that depending on how resistant you are or how easily you allow stuff to come, it will either be slow or fast to build up. But one way or another, it's going to build up until you finally are at the point where the people who could pay for it are paying your bills, and then you can start bringing other people in.
And the other piece of that, and that's a really good point, Walt, and the other piece of that I'm thinking about is when some people actually value you more when you charge more.
Oh, yes.
And they think if you're not, some people actually value you more when you charge more.
That is true.
So that if you're not charging enough, they don't think as high, they don't value your work. They don't, and they might actually not even get as good health benefits in the end.
There's also there's a side issue that goes with it too. The side issue is that when you do the opposite of that, when you're undercharging, so to speak, you end up getting more clients who pinch more pennies and cause you more grief. The ones who can pay gladly. They don't give you any hard time. They're easy clients. They're the ones you love. They keep coming back. They're the really, really great clients. But when we get ourselves into a place of feeling like, well, I got to discount it, I got to get it down there so that the average person can afford it and so forth, that's when you end up with the litany of problems. In fact, you talked about insurance and how nasty insurance can be to deal with, and that's very common among any of the healing arts. Medicine and everything outside of medicine and everything in between. The people who try to be the ones who provide the full service are the ones who get the lower price clients, who give them the hard time and who take up all their time and energy doing the filings. The ones who have the successful practices where they have the high-end clients, they just give them a little instruction card, like, here's how you get a file, and it's real simple. It's a one-form thing, and you're done. And now they've taken all of the insurance out of their own bailiwick. It's not part of their job anymore.
Yep. Or they just charge cash to people who can afford it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it amounts to. Yeah. I mean, either
and
way,
value it.
The point is, if you're handing it off to them, if you're saying, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, Mr. or Mrs. Client, you're responsible for the insurance. It's easy to do. Here's what you do, but it's your job to do that. That's going to be self-sorting. The people who can't afford you will come to you. The people who can't afford you, who want to have you take care of all the insurance for them, won't come to you initially. It's just
go to the Y or to Tri-City Wellness.
Yeah, they'll do something else. I mean, it's not like they don't have any options out there. And the medical professionals know which of those options they are. So it becomes a self-sorting mechanism. But the main thing is, if you go in with that mindset that says, I'm going to go for the ones that are the really good clients, and you really believe you're going to get them, you will. I mean, my friend Joel, the guy who I was telling you about, he was actually running a clinic at one point, and he was running it as a law of attraction coach. He was running it, training all the staff to do law of attraction in their practice, which is exactly what he was hired to do, until the owner decided he really didn't want him to do that, and he got fired. And all of a sudden, he was out of a job, didn't know what to do, and he didn't worry about it because he figured, this is the way it needed to go. It was clearly not going to work out where he was. And within 2 weeks, his entire calendar was filled up because he didn't worry about it. And he had already some network set up. So it's not like he didn't know anybody, but people were just started calling him. And then he went through the same thing again 2 years later. He hooked up with another outfit. They gave him complete control of this whole operation. And within a month, it was the same thing all over again. The owner was basically micromanaging and so forth. And so he left. He left on a Friday, kind of by mutual decision in this case, instead of being fired. And by Monday, his entire calendar was filled because he was so confident that it was all going to work out nicely. His entire 40-hour calendar was filled over a weekend.
I love that.
And it's because of his attitude.
I think you're making a really, really excellent point, because it all comes down to how you're feeling going into it.
Yeah.
So when you're feeling doubtful or fearful or worried or I'm not good enough or I don't deserve it or any of those things, guilty for asking for this amount or whatever it happens to be, that's what makes it tough. And I know that, then there's the old back to, okay, so how do I increase my confidence about it? How do I increase my vibration? And how do I make this easier to actually be in a good place, to be able to attract that? And it's back down to that same old raise your vibration thing, like just doing whatever it is that makes you happy. And not, if this is something that doesn't make you feel good to think about it, don't think about it. But if you can think about it and really get into it in a positive place where you're thinking like, wow, that would really be cool. If I could just work as an independent contractor and this is what I'm going to charge and that's just the way it is and I'm not going to blink my eye and they're just going to say, sure, no problem, and hire you.
Yeah.
So a lot of it, I think, is the believing.
And by the way, it's really easy for us to say that, and I can say that with confidence because I'm in the exact kind of situation. My situation is different from yours, but I am wrestling with the exact same thing you're wrestling with, and I know exactly how that feels. In fact, I would say in some ways mine's even more challenging, but we won't go there. The point is that I still have to find some way to get into that place of saying, you know what? I know how good it's going to be. I just got to start focusing on what Cindy Chavez likes to call the vignette, the one little vignette of what happens when the clients start showing up. What does that feel like? What is that one? Your first client calls you and basically says, when can I make my first appointment? And they haven't even asked you how much it costs because they don't care what it costs. What does that feel like? That's the feeling you're going for. Because if you can get that feeling and just start replaying that one over and over again until you really believe it deep down, guess what's going to happen? The phone's going to ring. Someone's going to call up and say, hey, I was referred to you by so-and-so. They said you do a really good job. Do you have any appointments available for me? Without asking you what it costs.
Mm-hmm. And they say, I'm so excited to get started. Can I make the appointment tomorrow?
Exactly.
So I mean, the thing is do you think that you're in that place where you can actually, I mean, because you've actually done a lot of good clarifying today already. Because we started with one idea and then another idea and then another, and coming down to it, it's like I don't want to be running a whole thing.
Correct.
I want to actually have freedom in my life and I want to enjoy my life and I want to go do my work that I really love to do and have people appreciate it and gladly pay me for it and then move on to the next. And not get bogged down by all the paperwork and the billing and the running of schedules and all that kind of stuff. You can just focus on your clients. So do you think that it kind of says what you've clarified in terms of what you're looking for in terms of being an independent contractor?
Yes, all except for the retirement aspect of it. But
okay, well, so let's add that in. Let's add that in. So the piece the amount that you're charging is not just to cover your bills. Correct. And it's not just to cover your bills and a little savings. Correct. The amount that you're charging and the amount that's coming in is to cover your bills, your health insurance, your savings, and your retirement, and going on vacations. Absolutely. And not working for those periods of time. So if all of that could come together, and you actually had that falling into your lap, which you can, if you really fully line up with it. So the piece I'm wondering is what baby steps or baby leaning feelings, kind of what direction could you even lean to start feeling closer to believing that? Like what can you say about the scenario that you actually believe? Such as, I believe that the universe can help me with this. Very general statement.
For me, I think I need to do the dollar amounts and come up with that and what that number is, and then state that this is a total doable bill for people to pay for an hour with my time.
Unless they were paying a monthly fee.
Unless they were paying a monthly fee.
And maybe there were some other little side things that they're paying for that you're not even thinking of right now.
Yeah, maybe packages.
And once you start, right. Or once you start working with clients, you find out, well, actually, they really need all this other stuff that I can do for them on the side too. That's just added on money. Mm-hmm. Might not be extra time. Maybe they want me to print out exercises for them that I've already developed, or who knows?
Right. I mean, mailbox money is kind of nice.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
Really...
So I wouldn't get so stuck in the how, because I know that it's really hard to not just go right to, I need to figure out the money, and I need to figure out how I'm going to do this, and I need to figure out that. And that to me feels really heavy and challenging and stressful and worrisome.
It depends on how you go about it. I mean, if you go about it in terms of just putting together a quick spreadsheet, here's how it could all add up to, you don't spend more than 5 or 10 minutes on it, that's fine. But if you do it like I do, if you do it like I do and spend the next 2 weeks trying to work out in detail how you're going to ramp it up over time,
yes,
that's guaranteed to kill you.
So I agree, and I think that if it's possible to pull back from the specifics, because that's getting into the how, which is really the universe's job, not yours.
Okay.
So the piece that's yours is to just raise your vibration in whatever way you can and lean in a direction that will help you feel like you can believe this a little more.
Okay.
So if you were going to, let's say, sort of walk through that bridging piece where you're going to go from where you're at right now to a little closer to that scenario as if it's already happened, what are statements you could say that you actually believe that would help bridge you a little bit into that end result? That are very general, like
clients that I can help are seeking me right now and will find me. Okay,
do you believe that fully? Right now?
I do.
100%?
I do.
You do?
I got 3 calls yesterday.
Okay.
And I passed them on and turned them down, and I'm like, why?
That's all right. Doesn't matter.
Can you call them back?
Turn it around in your head. Turn it around in your head. Pretend that you actually took them as clients. Replay the scene. Invent the scene again in terms of how it worked out when you took them as clients.
Okay.
I like that. So, I mean, that's a very specific thing. So if you can leap all the way to that belief because it happened yesterday, then go for it. That would be a great bridge to there.
Yeah. And
but
that's nice because you got details right there. You've actually got, most of us have to invent details when we're trying to create the vignette. You actually have real details that happen that you can rely on. That's great. That's a fabulous thing.
Exactly. You know, and can that sort of build up on the side and then you morph into that?
Well, that's what I was thinking that I would end up doing. But it goes into my evening time with my daughter, and then that's when I felt my resistance, which is why I called and referred them to my friends that I knew would be able to somewhat help them and direct them, because dinner time with my daughter is important. But I do have every other weekend, and I do have lunches and other things, and some of the activities that I do right now, like teach dance on my lunch hour, I could change. I mean, I can adjust so that I'm bringing in these clients more often. Mm-hmm. I can also cut back my full-time hours to 32 instead of 38, which is 6 hours a week. I mean, there's doable things. I can see the how. I can see the why.
What can't you see?
What?
Sounded like a but. You were going to say, but I can't see.
Yeah. I'm just nervous to let go of the full-time
Do you
job
have
with
to?
benefits. I don't now. No, I don't now.
So don't worry about it. Because once that all pulls together, you won't even have to worry about it. It's just going to seem obvious that it's the logical next step for you.
That's true. You're right.
Do you have what is often called the connection with the inner being? Do you listen to inside signals, like your connection to higher power or to God, or however you like to think about it? Do you ever have that kind of communication going on?
I meditate daily.
Okay.
Yes.
The reason I ask is if you get any kind of signals that you're able to interpret, I'm still actually learning to do that, but many people have it fairly well developed. If you're getting signals like that, when a call comes along, ask, is this one I should take? Don't try to rationalize it. Let your inner being tell you. Because you'll get a very clear answer if you know how to get the communication.
That's true.
If it feels good,
You're
okay,
right.
yeah, the answer's right. If it doesn't feel good, you'll know, well, nope, the answer's no. It's pretty straightforward.
That's true. It's when you try and force a round peg into a square hole.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you get
And
the
I think that even when that comes up, what I'm hearing is that you go right into the worry mode. Well, then I won't be able to have dinners with my daughter, and then I won't have this, and then I won't have that. So it kind of flips into the worry piece. And I'm wondering if there's a way even to step back from that and saying, you know what, the universe will figure all that stuff out. I don't even need to worry about that.
Mm.
All I want to do is take this one little piece, and if it feels good, just do it. Just do it. And the universe really will figure the rest out. And I think as you gain momentum starting to take some of these and starting to see the potential and starting to see what people are saying, sure, I'll pay that.
Mm-hmm.
And gee, thanks so much for squeezing me in. I think that's what's going to start turning things for you in terms of this, where you can let go, let go, let go. The more you can let go of all those little details, the more you're going to have a higher vibration, and it's just going to flow in. It totally is. And I could so see that for you, Zai. I could so see that for you. Being
thank
that
you.
independent contractor. I really can. I really can. I think you'd
I
be
can
great
too.
at it. And I think that you are going to get over that charging thing.
Good. It's been with me for 20 years. It's an old friend that I'd like to say goodbye to.
So you can even put out to the universe right now, I really want to let go of that whole mentality, and I'm handing it over to you. Now it's your job to figure it out.
That's true. I have my
So are
little
you-
girl coming up.
Is she hiding behind you?
Yeah.
There she is. Hi there.
There she
Hello.
is.
Hi,
Hi,
Anya.
Daddy.
So does that in the end, I mean, do you feel like that allowed you to release a little bit of your fear around that? Do you feel like you became clear around this?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And when the frustrations of the day to day come up, it's even easier to let go of that fear. All right, here's the dog. Here's the family.
We got the whole family here.
Love it.
Aw.
Stella licked her face.
I see that.
All right,
So Zai, I think there you got your vibration raisers right there.
There you go.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So Zai, I'm going to look forward to hear how this goes.
Me too. Me too. I'll look forward to sharing with you. I'll give
Okay.
you my business card and tell you all about it.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you, Walt.
You're welcome, Zai. Thank you for coming on the program to share your story. And like she said, come back and tell us when it works out, because it's going to work out. We know it's going to. It's just a question of how much resistance you put up or how little you put up. And so therefore, how quickly it comes into your life. But once it does, do us a favor and come back and tell us the story, because it's always fun to hear the
Okay,
manifestation
I'll do a
story,
follow-up.
right? 'Cause
That sounds great.
That always
Thanks.
makes it better. So thank you very much. We appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. And before we get going, I want to make sure that I get our promo messages in. First of all, if you're not yet a subscriber to the podcast, please do become one. We have links in the description if you're listening to the live stream on the Law of Attraction Changed My Life group. Also, we have it in the description for the podcast episode itself, or we will actually, once this is actually stored there, because that's what a podcast is. It is a collection of recordings of what have been done, and we will include it in the recordings. If you are not able to find it in the description, well, just go to the homepage of the website at loatoday-net. You'll find links there where you can subscribe with either an Android device or an iPhone or whatever you have. And then once you're a subscriber, and also for existing subscribers, please put out in social media the fact that you're listening to and enjoying Law of Attraction Radio on loatoday.net, because more people need to get their daily dose of happy. More people need to get that into alignment feeling, that vibration feeling that Patty was trying to help Zai get into, because that's when we do our best manifesting. So, I mean, I'll tell you what my dream is, Zai. My dream is that we get this up to 10,000 or more listeners per episode. Right now we're around 200, 250 and growing. But I'm like really setting it way, way up there. And the reason I set it that high is I just imagine every single episode, 10,000 people getting a boost of energy, getting more excitement into their lives so they can get into their alignment, so that they can go out and do the things that they want to do and have the things that they want come into their lives. I just think about that multiplier effect. What happens when you have 10,000 and those 10,000 impact another 100,000? It just keeps growing geometrically beyond that.
Exponentially.
Exponentially, yeah. I mean, I just kind of imagine what that is like, and imagine how that affects the world, how it affects the country, how it affects all the countries that we broadcast to, how it affects everybody around the world. I just think of this thing that just
that trickle-down effect, yeah.
Well, I think of it as an expanding thing. I think it is like everything getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep.
So that's what you want to know what my vignette is? That's my vignette. I want to think about, wow, 10,000 turning into an exponentially growing thing. So that's my dream.
And you get so excited just talking about it.
I do. And I actually like doing it on the podcast, because it's easier when you're doing it. You know, I'm talking to you, or I'm talking to a co-host on another episode or whatever. It's easier when you're telling it to somebody else. So I take advantage.
Yeah,
like, okay,
absolutely.
Well, here's the time to really put it out there, right?
Exactly.
So it's good.
That's
it's good
cute
stuff. And
so I also wanted to offer, if anybody wanted to come on to the podcast and get some little free coaching session, that they should just email me at patty@pattyframocoaching.com. So patty@pattyframocoaching.com.
Yep.
That would also be if you're interested in just coaching with me or talking with me further.
Absolutely. And anybody who is watching this can tell you're darn good at what you do. Really, really good
at it.
Well, you are.
Thanks.
I mean, I've had the opportunity to watch you do it for, I think it's 3 weeks now. 3 weeks in a row we've been doing this with people getting the personal coaching like this. And you're so good at staying focused on, so what does it feel like? So what does it feel like? Because that's the key. Yeah. But you don't allow yourself to be distracted on that. I mean, they take you off in this direction. No, well, yeah, but how does that make you feel, right?
Right.
I love that.
You got my secret now.
Oh, yeah. You see it often enough, you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. Which makes sense, really, because that's what this is all about, getting into the feeling place. Because we know once you get into that good feeling place, all the good stuff happens.
It's totally about that.
Yeah.
It just flows in, and the letting go.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really good stuff. Now, do we have somebody lined up for next week?
I do have someone for next week.
Okay.
Eileen is going to be coming next week, and I'm not sure. And after that, I think I'm open. So if anybody's interested, just let me know.
Aha. Okay. So the next available opening is going to be the Monday before Thanksgiving, actually. I think.
Yeah, if I'm not, I may or may not be able to be here that day.
So maybe the one following that.
But it would be the one after.
Okay, but so it's going to be one of those 2 Mondays. All right. So now we know what's available. Okay. So yes.
Yep, that's the one.
So you want to reach out to Patty, and if for whatever reason you lose the email address or whatever, just send us a note via the website, or send us a note via social media, so that one way or another we'll get into Patty's hands so she can schedule you. So that's a good thing.
Sounds great.
Thanks. So let's see. Minute and a half left. What's the closing thought? I mean, after the session with Zai, what's the one big takeaway that somebody seeing this can say, you know what, I need to do the same thing in my life?
For me, just listening to how sometimes we think we feel a certain way or want a certain thing, and we think there's all these obstacles to it because we haven't really voiced it. Mm-hmm. And there's something so different about sort of saying it out loud and hearing it back to yourself. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, well, wait a minute. No, that doesn't sound so great. I thought that would sound great, but now it's not so great. Or, gee, I thought that I really wanted to do this, but really it turns out I really want to do this. Mm-hmm. And this feels a lot better. Mm-hmm. Just voicing it.
Yep.
I think is huge. And having somebody repeat back to you what they're hearing. I mean, I know it sounds so simplistic, but it really does, I think, help you clarify.
It helps clarify, and I think it helps build self-confidence too. I mean, it's one thing to say it to yourself or even to say it into a mirror. It's another thing to say it and have somebody repeat it back to you in a way that makes it sound like they believed it. I mean, I'll give you an example. With myself, my own dream, I want to build up the listenership, right? Get us up into the tens of thousands. Well, probably among all of my co-hosts and I who do all the episodes with me, I'm probably the one who believes it the least. Because all of you guys, you are all, to a person, absolutely 100% convinced this is done. It's a done deal. I'm the one who's still trying to convince myself of it. So so that's where the big benefit is. Because if somebody else is feeding it back to you, it helps you build up your own belief, your own self-esteem, your self-confidence that it's actually going to happen. Because that's really, that's
absolutely.
The key.
Even,
you have to have
even
that.
just somebody knowing, I know this is already
Exactly.
done. Even just hearing that is like, oh, yeah, that's right.
So this has
it's
been
easy
good.
to forget.
This has been good. I look forward to picking it up and doing another one next week and finding out who the next person in the hot seat is. We have our own hot seat. You know that?
Exactly. That's true. We do.
We do.
It's our version of the hot seat. Yeah, the Walt and
Absolutely.
Patty hot seat.
There you go. So, all right. Well, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, you too.
And we hope that
Okay,
you'll join
sounds
us
good.
as well next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.